It's day two of the African Monetary and Economic Sovereignty Conference. And today it is expected that participants and panelists will be able to draw a nexus between climate change, debt restructuring, and economic sovereignty. But the question is there really a connection between these three? We'll find out.
Africa's inability to invest in the building blocks of development and prosperity is because our fiscal policy space has been consumed by external debt, external borrowing. And when you zoom in and look at the real sources of external borrowing, you find structural economic entrapment that has colonial roots.
And so the restructuring of debt would be much easier if we had different systems, different frameworks from which we are restructuring. At the moment, it's only one system run by the IMF and the World Bank and the creditors, and that's not good for countries in Africa, for instance.
These and many more statements like it startled some participants.
The failures of the leaders on the continent of Africa, shouldn't we address that first before we begin to talk about whatever is happening outside of our control?
However, the panelists seem to have answers.
African borrowers borrow sometimes 8, sometimes 11 times the rate at which the European or advanced nations borrow. So in as much as we go to borrow freely, but we are treated in a way that is actually unfair and biased against us.
We were supposed to be the continent or the place for cheap raw materials for the industrialized world. We still play that role today. Number two, we're supposed to be the consumers of technologies and industrial output from the global north. We still play that role today. And most importantly, we're supposed to be the place where obsolete technologies, assembly line manufacturing that is no longer needed in the industrialized world is outsourced to us under the label of development, cooperation, or job creation. But effectively, it locks us at the bottom of the global value chain.
Is there a way forward?
The solution to getting out of these traps happen to be not only solutions that help us develop and get rid of the sources of external debt, but all of the solutions are actually climate solutions. So that is investing in food sovereignty and agroecology. That is a climate policy. That is also a policy to the root cause of external debt. And number three, most importantly, Pan-African green industrial policies to use the critical minerals that we have, to use the labor force that we have, which is the youngest labor force on the planet, the complementarity of our resources and capabilities to manufacture and deploy clean energy infrastructure, clean cooking infrastructure, clean transportation infrastructure. All of this is real economic transformation to get out of the colonial traps, but it's also climate solutions.
Does it seem to you like these conversations seek to absolve African leaders of any wrongdoing or responsibility? Well, I thought so too. But what I do know is that there is a need for balance. So, African leaders must take responsibility, develop their economies, because it is only when they do that that we can see the economic sovereignty that we desire. From Addis Ababa, for News Central, I am Perpetua Fasanmi-Peter.